Crumbs, right? Single digit. Well, it's tough though because it seems like it's top heavy at this point, and this is where stamina is a factor. Some of the teams tried their best in early parts of this game, and they did move up into leaderboard. But unfortunately, all of those effort, all those energy are dying down, and it's being taken advantage by teams like Korea United, KE Sports, especially. Despite of them failing, they have a plan right now to get themselves back into fourth. But for
Solid, they're also a team that consistency-wise is up bar 50% of each
each game, they are in the top three, and still continues even more than Korea United has done.
game. They are in the top three, and it still continues even more than Bordeaux United has done.
Yeah, and I think that's something that is going to be a constant reminder, I think, to everyone out there. Let's take a look at today's standings so far after 4 rounds. The team in first, of course, BRU really pulling ahead of the competition for now. 89 points in total, 2 booyahs. Team Solid, even without a single booyah, still came in second with 68. Falcons come in third. And then we start to see the great divide. Evil's Divine fourth, RQ Kazu in fifth spot. And PE Sports, they move up the rankings a little bit. 22 points for them, and the majority of those points from Alpine.
Yeah, well, so far for some teams who have the target of achieving, it seems like Bordeaux United and Team Solid, Team Falcons are very close to getting there. But the focus now would be those who are who will be resting it out for tomorrow's game. So yesterday we have Group A and B. Now we have B and yesterday was A and C. Now we have A and B. So those on Group A will need to hustle. And that's one reason why Bordeaux United and Team Solid is doing this much. For PE Sports, they were given an opportunity. They're still top 3 in overall, but they would need to hold on a little bit to be able to get that threshold of 270 that we talked about earlier.
And I think that is that's going to be the constant topic, right? As we progress through the rest of the final 2 rounds. I think even from the highlights, we can sort of see how today's the kind of the discussion we had about how the teams are approaching day 2 still remains constant. Getting very early reads on the circle, committing to it, and then we get these bloodbath towards the late game. That is starting to be a problem for some of the teams who are still not used to these big scale fights. And you can kind of see the difference in experience, right? For BRU, they get the read, but they don't commit to it, right? They understand that they don't have to rush in, but for teams who are desperate to get a powerful position, you sort of pay the price of being caught in a crossfire. And it's sort of a give and take. And in this case, Falcons for 2 rounds in a row from round 3 to 4 have struggled a little bit where they get the good position, but they just got overwhelmed with the amount of gunfights happening.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree, especially on that map, because a lot of teams has been surviving in the final moment of that game. But, well, let's see, though, if some other team will be taking that board on the Booyah takers, because so far it's just Thailand on a spree. And it's pretty much similar on how AG is reigning. Not in the Booyah, but it's more of the points that they've gathered. And it seems like from the past, some of the teams, especially regions from Indonesia, from Brazil, are doing their best to pull down Thailand out of that throne, out of that pedestal. But seems that but Team Falcons, Bordeaux United would want that prestige back. And that's also one thing that they can carry onto grand finals, to be able to show that they are not easy to beat. But let's see on how difficult they are to beat as we look at the skills of the team without being any changes. Seems like there are none. It seems like Moshi still have that Nero, A124 for Jonah, Oscar for Wasana, and Get High with that Steffi. And I'm really liking how they adapt in the current meta of the skills right now.
Yeah, I think it's, if you want to find a team that has a very good grasp on how meta shifts and come up with sort of a all-rounded team, that's going to be BRU. Jonah, 8 eliminations, another MVP, award granted to him. I think BRU, there was a period of time when when Coach Namo departed from the team and Deck Long had to take over. Obviously, there were some questions asked, how is BRU going to move on forward? Is it going to affect the performance? But I think BRU, even when you leave the coaching staff out of the conversation, you have multi-World Series winners, right? Wasana being the exception, but he is already off that caliber to take that trophy. BRU showing again that those experience that they gotten over the years is something that cannot be replaced by all the other teams out there.
Well, speaking of experience, this is our MVP right now, Captain Buriram United Jonah. 8 elimination, 3,791 on damage and 4 assists, bringing that thrill of battle. And I love the combination of A124 as well as that Cryo Mine. So it's more of a disabler. One disables the skill, another one disables the glue wall that is needed by the rusher of the team to be able to clean house. And I'm the adaptation of Buriram United out of the meta right now. They might have delayed it, but here we can see that they're slowly perfecting this game when it comes to active skill.
And on top of that, you also have one of the newly added utilities, right? The team booster. So talk about trying to take out a already bad and hardened team. Now they get to pick themselves back up. They get to assist each other even more efficiently. That is going to complicate matters when the going gets tough. Again, BRU, with that back-to-back Booyah kind of taking over what Falcons had set off in the start, it's going to be hard to stop them, right? Maybe a third party is what's needed, but they have been very intelligently avoiding these third-party situations.
And let's see though, now we have the weapon progression at this point from Buriram United in Alpine. And we can see in the beginning of the game, we have Wasana with a Mag 7, P90 from Jonah, as well as a Charge Buster from Moshi, which is surprising. But if that is what you have right now in the beginning of the game, knowing that there's not so much of contention and snowfall, then so be it. But as you can see, this is where the late game play usually happens. Circle 2, Circle 3, they didn't get any of those elimination. I believe it was when they went into Garrison, they went against Red Hawks, thus they got 3 elimination. But as they move along, slowly but surely, they're getting all those shots from afar, especially with the AC-80 Winchester from both Jonah and Get High. And as they get closer to the final of the circle, or the final circles, they switch over to close-range weapons like M590. We have the M79, which you know for a fact Jonah would be wearing.
Nothing beats having just being Moshi, just aura farming, right? Just Charge Buster. No changes at all. This man is something else. But yes, M590 is still very, very deadly. I mean, I enjoy the breath of fresh air, having the Winchester now being part of the meta, right? We've long gone to the days of the Woodpecker, the AC-80 making it to the final circle, the AWM, Winchester for the win, as BRU are now leading in the overall standings. The first and only team so far to break through the 300-point threshold.
Yeah, 300 mark is there, and they're way past the threshold that we're looking for to be able to get into grand finals. The same story for Team Solid. So with this point, with the trajectory that they have made overall, they will be resting, sleeping easy at this point, and we're not even done with the day just yet. But let's see if there's something that could change for the other teams, because it seems like it will continue on for Thailand, because Team Falcons grabbed that 2 booyahs, Buriram United also getting 2 booyahs, and it's still not over. Their performance is not dwindling any bit.
Yeah, not at all. And that's momentum in a nutshell, right? BRU actually now is also leading in terms of the booyah, right? 4 booyahs in total, the highest elimination so far in the competition. Just classic BRU stuff. The night still is quite far from being over, so this team needs to start locking. This is where we go into how the exhaustion is going to start kicking in. And if you are the teams that are really struggling, still trying to fight for the top 12 spot like EVOS in this matter, you have to keep on pumping out the heat. And for me, I personally feel like it's harder to keep on going aggressive and snowballing than it is to just play slow and, fall back to a safe spot. Because there's lesser sense of urgency playing safe than telling a team that we have to keep on going. And it does wear on you.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, good to see that EVOS is trying to keep that up.
Exactly. I mean, EVOs will try their best to keep up with what is happening, because we also featured earlier that there's a lot that they really need to bring into the table right now, and hopefully into next set of games, next set of map, we'll be able to see them really pop off. Because as we go into the game schedule, we're going to witness as well as to where the teams will be dropping in. We're going into the OG map, the green grass of Bermuda, and the last game for today would be happening in Purgatory. Both are similar